Hi, I'm Patrice Dickey, the author of Back to the Garden, Getting from Shadow to Joy, and originator of Get the Life You Love for Emory University's continuing education. I'm here to talk about how to shift your vibe and thrive for 2012. Thank you for being here. Here we go. Thank you. Welcome. I'm Patrice Dickey. I'm so glad you're here for Shift Your Vibe and Thrive. And probably one of the best ways to shift your vibe and thrive is to get to know your neighbor a little bit. So I want everyone to get a partner, preferably someone that you've not worked with before or you don't know. So if you need to shift your seating around a little bit, that might, Diane, why don't you come up here and you can sit with Catherine. And did you come with someone?
Yeah, she's in the bathroom. Shelley.
Oh, okay. So you're Tom. So
Tony.
Tony. Okay. Welcome. Good to see you. All right. Well, no, I mean, you didn't know each other. Oh, but they did. All right. Well, that's fine. And Shelley and Tony work together. Okay, great. Okay. Well, his girlfriend's coming in a second, so.
But they know each other, don't they?
Well, that's okay. It's just going to be easier.
Oh, okay.
Hey, welcome,
So
Fran.
you should take.
Come on in.
Okay.
Take your shoes off. Didn't she tell you out there?
Sorry
Sorry about that. Hey, Donnie, welcome. All right. So everybody, turn to your neighbor and take that neighbor's hand and look them in the eye and shake their hand and say, "Neighbor, I want to thank you for a warm and wonderful relationship." It's not for life, perhaps, but okay, so now please, again, take that person's hand and put your thumb up to their thumb like this. Now, some of you may have seen this before, so don't give away the secret, okay? But the objective, your objective is to move your partner's thumb to your left as many times as you possibly can while I am counting while the meter is running, so to speak. So, Fran, why don't you scoot your chair over next to Donnie so you and he can be partners?
Okay. Tracy. I'm a burn person.
Get away.
Oh, it's on my jacket.
Oh, I got you.
Hang on.
Okay, so, all right, so here's the objective. Clasp your partner's hand, put your thumbs together, look your partner in the eye. Your thumb is like that. Your objective is to move your partner's thumb to your left as many times as possible during the amount of time that I count off. Okay, ready? Who has the first question about this? What are we doing this for?
What are we doing this for?
Okay. All right. It's part of shifting your vibe and thriving. Okay? So, all right. Go ahead and grasp your partner's hand and thumbs together. Ready? Go. And count the number of times you shift your partner's thumb.
Again?
Are we supposed to do that? No, that's right.
Okay, all right, stop. Thank you. Okay, how many got 5? At least 5.
We got 30.
Everybody in here knows how to flow with it. It's great. Okay, how many of you got fewer than 30? Okay, how many?
None.
None? No, wait, I saw you and Bernie going like this the whole time.
No, he was going like that.
I was going loud.
She wasn't moving.
Okay, all right. How about y'all?
I use both hands, yes and
Like, it was like an arm lock. Okay, well, so,
She says it was easy.
because why? What happened with y'all?
We were working against each other.
Because she understood the instructions, I didn't.
How many did y'all get, Teresa?
I have no idea how many we got.
Like 100 maybe?
Yeah.
A lot? Okay. Yes.
We forgot to count, but we just kept going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. just alternating,
Exactly.
you know.
So if you work together, every time you move to their left, then they have to come back to your left. in order to go to their lab. And it was pretty damn easy.
It's a flow situation, yeah, you know, and you wouldn't believe how many times I've conducted this exercise with groups of nurses who were supposed to be loving and sharing and giving, and they're about to wrestle each other to the floor. It's hilarious. But for those who know that the best way to thrive is through cooperation, that's what this exercise is all about. It's not about competition this year, it's about cooperation and staying in the flow that way. So congratulations to those of you who caught it without knowing. Yay, yes, very good. All right. So I know that a lot of you know me, but I'm just gonna give a brief introduction of who I am and what I'm about and where I've come from. And believe me, if you feel like you have suffered the slings and arrows, I too have suffered all of those slings and arrows and have come from places where I felt like I was from below the dirt, scratching and clawing my way back up to the surface. So what that yielded for me along the way was a recognition that it doesn't have to always flow in our direction in order for us to eventually thrive. So I'm going to share with you a story about what happened when I started my first business, which was 1989, and some of you have heard this before, but it was one of those situations where I had been working in ad agencies for several years. I was fired, laid off, let go, whatever you want to call it, for the third time, and I had a Scarlett O'Hara moment, and I said, I will never work for another male creative director again. And so that's when I decided that I couldn't job hunt anymore. I had to start my own business. And that was November of 1989, and by February, with a $600 mortgage, which seems like nothing these days, but for me it was big because I was not earning any money, so a $600 mortgage and a car payment, by February I was broke. And it was one of these days like this. It was sort of a droopy day, the rain was coming down, it was actually a lot colder. I'm going to take off my jacket because it's a little toasty in here, but the rain was pouring down, and I sat in my little office at home in Lake Claire and looked at the bills I had to pay, and I just sobbed. I mean, I was heartbroken because I didn't know what was going to happen or what I could possibly do. And something really interesting happened at that moment, and that was that by sobbing and releasing and just letting it go, I surrendered it. I turned it over. And the peace that passes understanding came over me. And I thought, okay, that's okay. I'm feeling a shift. I'm feeling like something good could happen. I have no idea what it will be, but it was a matter of trust and surrender. Trusting and surrendering. Trust, surrender, and move your feet, though. Just like in the civil rights movement, you know, you do not sit there and wait for something good to roll up to you. You've got to stay in action. So action for me was contacting everybody I knew, which numbered in the hundreds. I had worked in far-flung industries like the Atlanta Chamber of Commerce and the American Red Cross and all these ad agencies. So I had numerous contacts, and also with Dale Carnegie training, where I had been an instructor for many years. So I contacted everybody I knew and let them know that I was, you know, well, they already knew. Believe me, they already knew I was looking for work. And in 3 days, and the irony of this timing is not lost on me, in 3 days I got a call from Griggs Van Horn and Associates special events decorators, and they said, would you like to get us some PR for an event that we're doing in Charleston? Prince Charles is coming to town, and we're going to have an event, and we need some public relations. And I said, oh, well, I think with a hook like Prince Charles, I could probably drum up a little interest. So what happened was I contacted my friend who was also a solo PR practitioner, and she and I converged on Charleston. She came from Miami, I came from Atlanta, and it turned into something bigger and better than anything I could have ever imagined or was even in my scope of understanding. And as a result, I got to meet Prince Charles. It turned out that my client was the best dancer in the room. He had gotten his start as a ballroom dancer on Broadway. So here we were, my girlfriend and I snuck into the ball. We had our little Secret Service badges on. We hung out in the women's room for 4 hours before the event. They brought the bomb-sniffing dogs by, and we pretended we were powdering our noses, and it was a very exclusive event, and believe me, we would not have been invited. So at the appropriate moment, we slipped down the stairs of the Hibernian Hall and entered the throng, and that's how this fairy tale experience occurred. And it was all because I had not raced back to what I thought would be the known safety of a job. But instead, I trusted and surrendered. So that is one of the keys for shifting your vibe and thriving in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.